Hello everyone. Today I'm just going to give you exam tips of your IGCSE paper and O-levels paper. So let me share with you what type of paper you're going to take tomorrow, inshallah. There are going to be two types of papers that you are going to share. You are going to have papers. Let me just, first of all, for IGCSE one, you have paper, extended paper, and you have core paper. Those who will be taking extended paper, first I'm going to give you the little bit of, I hope you can see the screen. Paper 4. Tomorrow you are going to have paper 4, which is a theory paper, and it will be 1 hour 15 minutes, as already you must be knowing. Total marks 80, and short answer question and structured questions, and all questions are based on the extended syllabus content as well as core and supplemented. But the thing is that this type of paper contains all short answered and structured questions. There are no free response or essay based question. So this is for IGCSE paper 4 extended one, and for paper 3 it's for core paper. Short answer question, structured question, and your answer should be written in the provided spaces. And core, in core you are not going to follow up much about the extended syllabus, but core topic you are going to focus on. And then there's another stream of line which is called O-levels may tomorrow theory paper is going to be paper 2. So this paper is going to be basically 1 hour 15 minutes, and you are going to have 3 different sections in this paper. So section A carries 15 marks, which consist of a number of small compulsory structured questions. And section B carries 20 marks, each 10 consist of 2 compulsory questions. You have to do both, 10 marks each. Section C carries 10 marks, and candidate must choose one from choice, either or. So whatever you know better, you can choose that. These two papers are these two ones are called these theory papers. Now today I'm going to give you right now, we are going to discuss what type of exam tips basically are needed. Exam tips regarding solving the paper. First of all, I would just like to recommend you to take your paper and enter your information, personal information, and please don't forget to check your syllabus code. Syllabus code is very important because everyone is going to sit together mixed with ASA2 and IGCSE and O-levels. So don't forget, for syllabus code for IGCSE 0610/4 for extended /3 for core, and 5090 is for O-levels, which is going to be, it is going to be for O-levels kids taking paper. So make sure that you check your syllabus code. And when you open the paper, you just read your question number 1, suppose. So first I'm going to focus on IGCSE, that you are going to have 5 to 6 questions in your paper. So first choose question number 1, look at the question number 1, read the whole question, and don't start writing the answer by just looking at the first part of the question. So basically I'm giving you the first general tips, and then after reading the whole question, start solving the question. And if you don't know any part of the question, please don't keep staring at your question. That you are so confused, you forgot the things, doesn't matter. It's fine if you even forget things. You just please don't waste time, and you just jump to another part of the question. Another thing is just see how many marks are given and how many lines lines are provided. So basically, suppose 1 mark, so 2 lines are provided, and 2 and 4 lines, and so on. Another very important thing is just read the question carefully and just see what are the command terms given in the question. Command terms are very important. Like, for example, you need to underline the command terms. For example, in the same question, they asked you predict and explain, or they can ask you describe and explain. So what are the differences between the two? Suppose describe and explain. So description, you just need to describe the structure, whatever the description, mechanism, principle. But in case of explain, you need to give the reason. For example, alveolar structure. So how you're going to give reason for that? You need to tell how the each structure is basically adapted for particular function. Same is the case. For example, you have osmosis topics, substances comes in and goes out of the cell. So you have to see that after describing what is happening here, the cell is turgid or flaccid or whatever. But if they ask you to explain, you need to check it with that why basically water moving out or water moving in. Same is the case, suppose in one part of the question, they ask you to describe a Benedict test. So you need to only describe Benedict test instead of giving explanation also for results and observation. So next part, you may find, there is another part that explain the answer. So you just keep in mind that how you're going to go about it. Then you go through all the questions. And if you don't know any part, please leave it as such, blank or incomplete, complete the paper and then come back. When you come back, you need to just complete your incomplete question as well. So these are the general, terms that we need to, general tips that you need to go through. Another very important tip is why writing is important. I'm going to explain you why writing is important. Your expression, your writing is important. How to start your answer. And when you start your answer, if you need to explain why you write to, why you need to, because. So you need to, writing is very important. Knowing key biological terms. Biological terms are very important. These are key terms. Suppose when I start any topic, for example, I start a topic, movement of substances in and out. So I just start topic by introducing you the biological key terms, hypotonic, hypertonic, water potential, and so on. Same is the case on enzymes, any topic. So biology terms are very important. And these key terms, you need to focus on their spellings as well. Because if you mix up the biological key terms, they resemble, but they are totally different. I'm going to give you examples how they are. For example, if I say glucagon and glycogen, they, if you don't write the right spellings of biological terms, they are totally different. Glycogen is polysaccharide, that carbohydrate. Glucagon is a hormone. So you need to, understand the biological terms. Knowing the structure of the paper, already introduced structure of the paper. Already I have introduced you to the structure of the paper, in which you know that in IGCSE, you have all structured questions, thinking questions, and they have marks given with small and, variable number of marks. You must remember one thing, that you might get some different type of mixed questions, and maximum question you can even get of 6 marks. Even 6 marks means maximum question. Big question you can even get. It can be based on graph relevant question or whatsoever. So you see this. I'm going to skip paper 1 right now, which is MCQ. So written paper tips, we are going to focus on drawing, very important. Drawings are very important. That drawing graphs, even in theory papers also, you should know drawing graphs, tables, calculation tips, comparison questions, extended writing. That's all very important. I hope you got it. Now, what is writing advice? Now, writing advice, what is meant by this? You need to keep your answer within the lines, on the question paper. Do not, write extra underneath the lines and whatever, because these lines are met, suppose 1 mark question, 2 lines, whatever, depending on the command term. Do not write anything extra. If you write in the margin at the bottom, so please don't use the margin of the bottom, because they will, because where they write examiners the tips and all that, don't write those. And if you need to cross something, you write something wrong, just write cross very, just line put across. Do not scribble all over it, because then you will not get enough space to rewrite your answer. Either you write your answer underneath or above, or if there is a big question and you personally feel that it's all wrong, you need to cross it. Doesn't matter, don't take tension. Just put just little note that you are writing the rest of the question on which part of the question. So that's very important. I hope this is very important. Uske baad, don't use just use accurate and precise terms. Using biological terms can correctly help you to elaborate your answer. For example, you can't just use like 8-day effect, whatever. Each and every term needs an explanation, more extended one. So this is very important. I'm going to give you the examples also. So this is how you should start with that. And other than that, see that when you just use this all, so I'm just going to show you now, next showing you how to answer the question. Now this is what in front of you, and you can just see here that don't waste time by writing out the question before you start to answer. Number one. Number two, keep your handwriting clear and legible. Clarity should be there. Now, I'm just going to give you example. For example, in inheritance chapter for both O levels and IGCSE stream. For example, you choose alphabets. So sometimes they give their own alphabets to choose for the dominant, allele, and recessive. But sometimes you need to choose your alphabet. So the thing is, if you choose clear alphabet, for example, if you choose capital C and small c, they are not that clear. Capital Y and small y, not that clear. So better to take capital A, small a, capital B, small b. So these are the ones which give you clarity, whatever you are using the symbols for that. So clear and legible. Keep your answers on the lines and on the question paper. That's very important. On the lines and on the question paper, very important. Then what you are going to do is, next is, don't write in the left hand side of the paper or in the column marked for examiner's use. You have seen that there is always examiner's use. This is because papers are scanned and the examiners mark them online. If you write in the margin, your answers may not be visible. If you wish to change an answer, cross out your first answer and rewrite. Don't write over what you have already written. Don't write over what you have already written. Okay, that's important. Then next is, if you have to cross out something, put a line through it. Don't scribble over it. If you run out of space, use white space on another part of the exam paper for a continuation of answer. Don't try to squeeze in your answer by using very small writing. If you have to use different space for rewritten another answer or to continue answer, put a note to tell examiner where it is, right? Always try to write accurately using correct biological terms. Now I'm just going to see, I have 3 chats. Please let me check. Ahmed Siraj. Walaikum salam, Ahmed Siraj and Iman Wahid. What are you saying, Miss? In paper, there has been 10 mark question for May, June 2021. Can you please, how to answer those? Okay. Okay, I have got your answers, Emma Siraj and Iman Wahid. Is it okay after finishing this if I focus on and I can, open May, June 2021 10 marks question? Is it okay? I hope you got it, right? So let me continue with this and just end up with this. Always try to write accurately using the correct biological terms. Candidates often lose marks because they don't use the vocabulary of biology correctly. Don't use words like it, they, effect without any more explanation. A sentence like it has an effect on the body or they affect the process does not say anything. These are vague words, right? You can't do this. Now, you have got in front, this is example number 1. I'm just going to answer your questions after finishing with the main tips. And then I'm going to open the paper for the one you asked for, beta. I'm going to open it and just give you a response on that. How to answer 10 marks question. We will see to this question. Okay. Now, this is example. Question number 1. State why magnesium ions are important for healthy plant development. Now, they are needed by the plant. If you just write it, it's too vague. They are needed by the leaves, too vague. If these are the first answers that come into your head, ask yourself, what is it or they? What is the need? So answer is magnesium is needed to make chlorophyll. So it is better answer would gain the mark. Magnesium is a part of each chlorophyll molecule. This is a good answer because I hope you know magnesium contains, it's very important and it makes the formation of chlorophyll. If magnesium is absent, then the leaves turn yellow. And this is also called chlorosis. Okay. Now, if you want to use the word it or they, think what is it or what are they, and then phrase your answer more precisely. If you want to use the word affect or effect, think how do they affect or what is the effect that they have. Now, terms. These are the names used in biology. Many of them are given in the syllabus. These terms will be used in questions. You should make sure you use them correctly in your exam. Ask your teacher if you are unsure about the meaning of biological terms. Now time passed, So right now you can ask me, because now tomorrow you have a paper. So I can't say that you can ask your, previous teacher, whatever. Now it is good idea to write your own biological dictionary. Now, whatever you have done so far when revising, pre-exam preparation, you have to always carry your syllabus along with your, notes. That's very important. And then you can make your own small, you can make your small notes on that. You can make a mind map, you can make biological terms, you can write. Try to use the correct spelling. Now, spellings are very important, very, very important. I'm going to give you example. Someone was saying yesterday to me, my teacher was saying they don't deduct marks, examiners, they don't deduct marks if you write wrong spellings of biological term. No, not at all. You need to write correct spelling of each biological scientific term. But if you write wrong spelling, separate or receive or whatever English expression, they don't mind a lot. But overall paper, if your expression is very bad, so you can lose even 1 to 2 marks for overall bad expression, English expression. So biological terms, these terms are very important. Now, correct spelling, person marking your answer will try to recognize what word you mean. But if the spelling is too far out or ambiguous, then they can't allow you a mark. Some biological terms have very similar spelling. One example is ureter. Now come into your topic. Ureter is your excretion topic in IGCSE. Even in O levels also, it's the excretion topic. Ureter, urethra, uterus. Now, ureter and urethra in your urinary system of humans, in both topics excretion, but uterus in human reproduction topic in both O levels and IGCSE. If the answer is ureter and your misspelling is uretus, you write uretus, it is not clear enough, as you could have thought the answer is uterus, but your spellings are totally wrong. Other common examples, ovum. Ovum is another word we use for egg, singular, and ova is plural. We use for words ova, plural. Ovary and ovule. Now you know that ova or ovum is a gamete sex cell in females, in human, reproduction and all that. Ovary also common in plant and animal. Ovule is only in plant, you know that. Ovule is seed formed. Testes, T-E-S-T-E-S. Now testes. This testes, T-E-S-T-E-S, testes is plural of both right and left testes. And testa is totally different. You know, the testa is the outer coat of seed. Sucrose and sucrase, totally different. Sucrose is a disaccharide, glucose and fructose made up of. Sucrase is an enzyme which catalyzes the breakdown of sucrose into glucose and sucrose. So they are totally different. Make sure you write clearly and always try to spell accurately as you can. Very important. Next point is better, don't try to mix the spellings of two words when you are not sure. Means which of them is the correct answer. For example, you might write, meiosis, M-E-I-T-O-S-I-S. This is not even mitosis, either not meiosis. This is wrong spelling. I think you were trying to write mitosis. So it's M-I-T-O-S-I-S. When you are not sure whether the answer is mitosis or meiosis or urethra, when you are not sure if the answer is ureter or urethra, in both cases, you would not get the mark. You need to check carefully that you have used the right word, and when similar terms are used in the same topic, for example, urea and urine, ureter and urethra, semen and sperm, you should know. Now, urea, urine, totally different. Urea is formed as a result of breakdown of protein, which cannot be stored, and it is formed in the liver, removed by the kidney in the urine. Ureter is the human urinary system part. Urethra is also human urinary system part. Semen is the one which gives nutrition to the sperms. You know, sperms survive in the semen. It's a fluid that sperms survive. Now, writing in your own words. I must tell you one thing. If your English is so good, your vocabulary is good, you have a grip on your biological terms and key words, then it's fine that you can use your own words. But in biology, even in chemistry, physics, it's better to, I don't want to say rote learning. In O levels, A levels, I always say no need of rote learning. But I must say learning is still important, so that you should avoid writing in your own words any statement and answer and hypothesis, even if your English is so good. But still, you sometimes have to write 2 or more sentences to answer a question. Number 1, use short sentences. Please, if you want to write in your own words, suppose you have 2 marks question and there are 4 to 5 lines you have, and you know 2 lines you can fill up, or you think it's too short, though you have written 2 points or whatever, 1 point with explanation, but you feel personally it's too short, and you start to try to filling up the whole question. If you write long sentences, you can become confused and your meaning is lost. You might also write something contradictory. It is hard. Contradictory means, suppose in the first sentence you write a right answer, but after extended your answer, you want to fill up the lines and you write at the end another statement. This statement contradicts your previous statement in the upper part, beginning. So when they both merge, examiner will not give you marks on your contradictory statements. That's very important. And your meaning is lost. You might also write something contradictory. It is hard for the examiner to find correct statements in a muddled answer. It's just like, you make up khichdi. Khichdi is meant for, when your stomach is upset, your mom make khichdi. I hope you understand. It's soft, very soft. Acha, you have often asked to write down something you have learned. Make sure you have learned the meanings of the common terms used in biology. You should know what is photosynthesis process clearly. You should know what is osmosis process clearly, diffusion, active transport, fermentation. Fermentation, is it alcoholic fermentation or is it lactic acid fermentation, which is in biotechnology and genetic engineering topic in IGCSE, and it's in biotechnology and microorganism in O-level topic. In the revision checklist, there's a list of terms which you should be able to define. You also need to be able to write down the meaning of more complicated ideas. For example, levels of organization. Now, level of organization in IGCSE is in topic 2. And in case of level of organization in O-level syllabus 5090, it's topic 1, which is cell structure. So level of organization ka matlab hai means ke there's a division of labor going on. If we start from the simple, how molecules, I hope you know, that's very important. How molecules make, I'm just writing something that it's a very important, stuff, that how molecules make, organelles. You must heard about organelles. Organelles are the structures which are present in the cell. Then similar cells, they make similar tissues. I hope you know that. Tissues, and then tissues make, organs and organ system and so on. This is called level of organization, right? So this is also very important. So you should know that what you are talking about. I hope whoever is there, getting the thing. Okay. Then natural selection. Natural selection is the topic which is an inheritance topic in case of IGCSE 3. Even in natural selection is in variation and selection topic in O levels as well. There are 2 types of selection we talk about: natural and artificial selection. Natural selection is relevant to Darwin theory, survival to the fittest, if you remember. How any characteristic which is selected for and then it pass on to the offspring, competition occurs, survival to the fittest. The one who compete can survive better, can pass on the favorable characteristic to offspring, and the offspring reproduce and so on. This is called natural selection. Natural selection, very typical example. You must read about it. DDT, insects resistant to DDT, then antibiotic resistance. Yeah, you must heard about sickle cell anemia, heterozygous form of sickle cell anemia, how people were in Africa, how people were dying either of malaria or they were dying because of sickle cell anemia, homozygous condition. But those who were heterozygous, suppose capital S, small s, they were at advantage. Also example of natural selection. Even peppered moth, example of natural selection, peppered moth, or snails ki example in natural selection. Artificial selection is one, when man deliberately select favorable characteristic and breed to, for example, inbreeding and outbreeding in plants, how, high yield giving wheat cross with the, resistant to disease, and you produce a hybrid which is more more favorable. Global warming, that how increased temperature, CO2 and all that. Eutrophication, whatever pronunciation you do, it is also in chemistry. how extra phosphate and nitrates from different, farmhouses, and so they enter into the rivers and ponds, and how do they basically stimulate the growth of reproduction of blue-green algae. When they rapidly produce, they die also due to overcrowding. And when they die, what happens when they die? When they die, so aerobic respiration occurs, aerobic bacteria starts decaying them. And when they start decaying them, you know what happens? Start decaying them means that they use the oxygen of water, aerobic bacteria, and biochemical oxygen demand reduces. So water becomes totally polluted. So this is also called algal bloom. Light cannot penetrate inside. Phytoplankton, unicellular plants, even underneath, cannot survive. So there is no much oxygen. Aquatic animals, they die. So that's all a blanket, eutrophication. Now come to exam questions and marks. Now there is example 2. It helps to highlight the main features of a question. You can't use a highlighter pen. You can't use a highlighter pen. Must keep in mind. So the best thing to do is to underline or circle keywords in the question. Now remember one thing. I don't know why students, they are so scared. They think if they do something with the question paper and they underline something in the question, it will make their paper dirty. Not at all. You underline the command terms, you see what he's asking for in your question. Even if you need to do the rough work, you need to write one word for your own information. Then you can even use the margins. You can use the margin for that information. So that you can write the answer. Now question. Now see what is the question. Name the tissue that transports the sugars made by photosynthesis. Sugars made by photosynthesis to other parts of the plant. Now this is for 1 mark. 1 mark. But here the command term is name. It means that 1 mark, 1 word is enough. This tells you that should write a 1-word answer about plant transport sugars. Underline the command word, which is not always at the start of the question. Not necessarily that the command term is given at the start of the question. And biological terms as you need the question. Now, in this case, you know that, suppose you know that it's a phloem, vascular bundles. Phloem is meant for the translocation of sugar, which is immediate transport sugar, sucrose, even amino acid organic solute. Now, number 1, make sure you know which part of your biology is being tested. Okay, read the whole of a question, including the stimulus material and parts A, B, C1, C2, etc. carefully before you begin to answer. I told you in the beginning, don't in excitement start writing the answer. Suppose question number 1, first read the whole question. I'm not saying read the whole paper. Read the whole question, link the parts and see what he's asking in the part 1, part 2, part 3, and so on. Because the parts can be from the same topic, the parts can be from the different topics. So make sure that you read all the parts very carefully first before you begin to write the answer. Some of the parts have similar answers, so you need to work out the differences between them. If you write exactly the same thing in different parts of the same question, then only one of them might be correct answer. There is often stimulus material for each question. This might be a photomicrograph, photograph. Photographs are of 2 types, you know that. One is called photomicrograph, which is taken from light microscope. Another one is called electron micrograph, which is taken from the electron microscope. And you know that light microscope gives you less magnification, means how many times you enlarge, and less resolution. You able to closely spaced lines differentiate. Electron microscope give you more magnification and more resolution. So both micrographs can be given. Diagram, just see what type of diagrams are given. Drawings given, flow charts given. You should just focus on all this. Photograph, as I said, photomicrograph, diagram, drawing, flow chart, very important. Flow chart based on, for example, nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle. Flow charts they can give you for anything, mostly for hormones. They can leave the boxes and they can ask you to enter the answer. So flow chart also very important. Table of data, statistical data is given. Table is given on osmosis, transpiration rate, whatever. Statistical data on nutrients given. So on immunity, different diseases, the data is given. Vaccine and all that. Relationship between lung cancer and smoking and whatever. A graph is given. What type of graph is given? Line graph given. bar chart given, histogram given, pie chart given. You should see the graph, type of graph, or just some text is given. Read all of the information. You need to read all of the information, very important, carefully, and study any pictures. Study any pictures, tables, or graphs that are included. I have seen kids not doing very well in even graph type questions. What type of graphs you should know. You can get a graph on osmosis. You can get a graph on enzymes, very common. You can get graphs on, limiting factors in photosynthesis. You can get graphs on population graphs also. You can get graphs on biotechnology topic also, relationship between antibiotic and penicillium and all that. So there are so many graphs given. You can given graph on based on trend going on, relationship between vaccinated people, non-vaccinated people, suffering from measles or whatever. So there are so many graphs. They ask you to describe or explain the graph, or they can ask you any part of the graph. So read all of this information carefully, study any picture, table, graphs that are included. All of it is relevant to the questions, okay? The stimulus material is often about something you have not studied. Now, this is very important. I don't know, kids, they are so scared. Suppose everything is not, I must tell you, 30 to 35% is called unseen content, which they can give you in your paper. And this content information is given in the comprehension form, just like in English. You get a comprehension. Whole of the information is maximum given in the comprehension. Out of that comprehension, you pick up the information and answer the relevant questions. That's very important. I'm giving you example. For example, insectivorous plants, pitcher plant, Venus flytrap, they are not exactly in detail in your course, but the information is given. What do they do and all that? You pick up the information and answer the relevant question. So unseen can also come in comprehension. That's very important, right? So that's what he's saying. For unseen description, you should, make sure. So what is given? The stimulus material about something you have not studied. Don't panic. Don't panic. There will be enough information in the question for you to work out an answer. You are being tested on your ability to apply your knowledge to new information. All the different parts of a question may be about the same topic. For example, digestion may be about the same topic. I hope you got my point. Maybe about the same topic from molded digestion, and the sub questions join, they are also relevant to the same digestion topic. Digestion in terms of, mechanical absorption, whatever, digestion, whatsoever. So they are from the same topic. So it depends. Enzymes and assimilation. Assimilation, if you remember, this is the part of, digestive system, 5-6 steps. That we start from ingestion and then digestion, chemical, if you remember, chemical and mechanical. Mechanical is mastication, chemical when acted upon by enzymes to break down the complex molecules into simpler molecules so that they can be absorbed easily. And whatever the fate of the molecule is called assimilation. It becomes the part of the protoplasm. Then look for clues in the words of the question. For example, if you see the word, for example, mammal. Ab dekho jara mammal, the word mammal word gives you large information in the question. You know that the animals are warm-blooded. So warm-blooded, basically, you can even use another term for warm-blooded. They are also called endotherms. Mammals are endotherms. You can even use a term homeothermic. Homeothermic, endotherms is very common in O-level syllabus that you need to know. But in IGCSE, warm-blooded or endotherms. Same is the case, mammals information is relevant to that they are warm-blooded like us, humans. Okay, so if you are only given a letter name, for example, you are given a letter name and you don't recognize, for example, eland, look to see if you are told anything about it. If you are told that an eland is a herbivore, herbivore. Herbivores, you should know what are herbivore. What is the trophic level of herbivores? You know that there are producers, then there are consumers. Consumers you have primary, secondary, tertiary level, and so on. So herbivores, they eat plant material. So they eat plants. So you should know all about that. Answer each question as far as you can, please, as far as you can. Don't spend long time staring at a question. Don't keep staring at a question, as I already told you in the beginning. Because if you keep staring at the question and you are so tense that you just, because I have seen some students, they don't go on or forward. They want to just write something relevant to, ma'am, please first let me do this, and in that they practice to waste their time. So don't do that. Don't keep staring at the question. So basically, if you don't know the answer or how to work it out, then leave it, come back to it later. As I told you in the beginning, it is best to put a mark by the side of the question. Put a mark by the side of the question so you can find it easily when you come back. Even you can write small, small words in the margins, which they will not consider that an answer. They will not mind. Or you can write, asterisk is a good idea, or last question mark against the letter of the part question. Not all part questions have answer lines, so you may not see a question that you have left out when you turn through your script towards the end of the exam. So please make sure all these are very important tips. Now, try not to leave blanks. No, I know that if one is going to take exam on experimental basis, not at all, for God forbid, I'm not saying that, negative, very negative point I'm sharing, not just going to sit for exam and put an attendance due to the pressure of parents and whatever. So you are ready to take your U grade. U grade is not going to mention in your certificate. So you don't mind, you go, U grade means unclassified. Then to it's fine, either you leave all the paper blank and the parts blank, or you write irrelevant answers, irrelevant, totally irrelevant. I'm talking about mediocre, even a student, candidate going, sitting for exam, but prepared for exam even in few months or whatever, it depends. So try not to leave blanks. Always check through your script towards the end of the exam. When you come back to a question, you may remember what to write as an answer to a question that you left out earlier in the exam. Don't waste time by writing about things unrelated to the question. Okay. If papers 1 and 2, there is 1 mark for each question. The number of marks is printed on the exam paper. You know, number of marks. Suppose you are taking paper 3 for IGCSE core, you are taking paper 4 for IGCSE extended, and you are taking paper 2 for O levels. The mark available for each part question is printed in square brackets. For example, 2, 1, 4, 3, so on. The number of marks help you, already told you in beginning, helps you decide how much to write. You know, if you have 2 marks question, you spend the number of marks indicate you the time. For example, for IGCSE, 80 marks paper, and you have 1 hour 15 minutes. You have to divide your time. Each marks same time given. Same is the case with 1 hour 45 minutes for O levels paper. You have 3 sections to go. So make that you have how many 50 marks you have for section A. You should give 50 minutes. Then you have 20 marks for section B, 20 minutes, and then you have 10 marks either or, 1 question you need to solve. And what type of question you need to solve for A levels in C section? Always choose the question which having more parts, not having elaborated kind of descriptive answers, not having much diagrams involved or flow charts and all that. Short answer, if more parts, better to do those parts. So number of marks help to decide how much to write. Total number of marks for each question is printed at the end of the last question. For example, total marks are 12 with the sub marks. So 12 minutes you need to give question number, suppose 1, 12 minutes, not more than that. Even for the sub questions, you need to give the same minutes. Number of marks is a guide to how long to spend on each question or parts of a question. Don't waste time and write long answers for a question which has 1 or 2 marks, please. You will not get any extra marks even if your answer is full of many correct and relative statements. Now in biology, this is very, biology is different, you know, from chemistry and physics. In biology, you have learned a long answer. Now it's very difficult sometimes to squeeze your answer. Sometimes you have short answer and you have it's very difficult for you to write a long answer. So you need still not to write irrelevant answer, but I don't want to even write very shortcut answer in biology. Better to write more elaborated answer, but make sure that your first statement should be very much relevant. Suppose they ask you 3 features, first write down in priority which you are sure about it, then second and third, because if they consider first one, they will consider right, even if it's right or wrong, but they will not consider third one even if it's right. So make sure what I'm saying, that's very important. Now, if there are 2 or more marks, don't write the same thing in 2 different ways. For example, the leaf is very large. Leaf has a large surface area, same thing. Large or large surface area, more for the light absorption. Now, come to command terms. As I already told you earlier, command terms. Command terms or command words in the question are the most important part. These are called command words and tell you what to do. Very important. You first of all, you read the question, underline the type of command terms given in the question. Sometimes 1 command term given, sometimes 2 command terms given, sometimes command words are given in the beginning, sometimes command words are given at the end. So make sure underline them properly. I'm not saying highlight. You're not using a highlighter, just halka sa lighter way, the way you need to cross your wrong answer, just write underneath light underline. Now, you can find all the command words in glossary. We start syllabus teaching with your glossary terms in your science paper and syllabus. If a question asks you to name or state, now these are name or state, 2 things. Only the first 2 will be marked. Use the numbered lines for your answers if they are given on the question paper. If you write more than 2 and first is correct, as discussed earlier, if you write first is correct, the second one is wrong, and the third one is correct, you will only get 1 mark. Because if it's of 1 mark, you will get 1 mark. So it's a wastage of time. Some questions have 2 command terms in the question. For example, predict and explain. Predict, and explain. This means you have to say what you think will happen, and they say why you think it will happen. Usually the word is printed in bold type to help you. See the section below for advice about answering questions that have 2 command terms and require an extended answer. Table on the following page has a list of terms used in bio. I will show you the command terms in glance. Now, this is a question, suppose. We discussed already up. Name the process by which the green plants make sugars. You need to write answer is photosynthesis. Just 1 mark, photosynthesis, 1 mark, 1 word, 1 term, process, photosynthesis. Question number 2. Define the term photosynthesis. Now, this is going to command term is define, and this is for 2 marks. Now, this requires a full sentence. The process by which green plants make carbohydrates from raw materials using energy from light. Now, if you elaborate it a little bit more, it's fine. You can even write the process by which green plants make carbohydrates, from raw materials. What are raw materials? Carbon dioxide and water using energy in the form of sunlight, right? So you can elaborate whatever the way other than whatever they have given the definition. This is very similar to the definition given in the syllabus. So you will get score full 2 marks. Now, you can find out more about command terms, or ye command terms aap dekho. These are the command terms. Number 1, define, give a definition, use the definition given in the syllabus. What do you understand by the term? Give a definition or fairly brief explanation of what the term means. You can use an example to illustrate this term if appropriate. Depending on the marks given, you can even illustrate it using appropriate examples. State, brief answer may be 1 word, or it may be phrases or a single line. List, a number of brief answers should be given. List the features of leaf, dicot leaf, which help to absorb maximum sunlight. Usually you are asked for a specific number of points. You don't gain extra mark by writing more than the number stated. Describe, you may have to describe the steps in a process or describe the appearance of a biological structure. You may also have to describe some data given in the table or graph. Make sure you have correct vocabulary for such description. Use the words increase, decrease, constant, peak, maximum, minimum. When there are graphs, very important. You need to use the words increase, decrease, level off, become constant, whatever. So you need to know very good important words, regarding enzyme, how active sites become saturated, how they become occupied, You know, you need to your complementary base pairs in DNA, adenine pair with thymine, guanine pair with cytosine, the complementary substrate with the complementary enzyme shape. So all good words you need to use. Explain, not the same as describe. You should give an, for example, if I say, describe a structure of alveolus. So you need to describe a structure of alveolus, but explain, to explain me, you should give reason. You should give reason why. Why, you know, you should just write, you should give an answer that has some reasons. You may have to explain why something happens or how it happens. For example, in osmosis, if you immerse plant cell or animal cell in different concentrated solution, there is a diagram given. Diagram shows you fully turgid diagram of a plant cell. So you describe, okay, it's a fully turgid plant. But when they ask you to explain, to just tell because it is immersed in hypotonic or dilute solution. So according to definition of osmosis, water moves from higher water potential to lower water potential. So water enters into the plant cell, it becomes turgid. But if it enters in the animal cell, it bursts because there is no cell wall. So you need to explain reasons, discuss. You may be asked to discuss advantages and disadvantages. So make sure you give some of both. Much depends on the type of question, but discuss usually means you should give different sides of a story or an argument. An argument, you know, it can be in support or it can be, you know, in not in support. Favor mein nahi hoga, you reject or you accept the argument. Suppose there is a hypothesis. Now I must tell one thing. Though mostly you all get exemption from your ATP. Mostly you got exemption from your ATP, which was held today. But the thing is, the ATP type, investigation type question, even magnification type question, a bit of it comes in MCQs, and investigation type question can come in your theory paper as well. You know, some calculation type, something they can give hypothesis. For example, in excretion, there was a question in the paper IGCSE also, that there was a hypothesis that how, you know, camels and rodents live in the dry region. So why they need to reabsorb maximum water, or xerophytic plants, adaptive feature, why they need more. So a hypothesis score, you need to see, are you going in the support of it, or you are going to reject it. So that also, you know, type of question can come. Outline. This is not the same as describe. You should give the main important points without any detail. Important points without any detail. Predict means that you should state what you think will happen. You may be asked to justify your prediction or explain it. Explanation is not required if all the question says is predict. Suggest. This is often used when there is no single correct answer. You should look through the information you have been given for some clues as to what to suggest in response to the question. Many problem solving questions use this command term, suggest. Calculate. Basically, make sure you know how to calculate percentages. Very important, very important. How to calculate percentages. I have seen that kids are so confused. They have a phobia of doing the calculated answer. Suppose they ask you to calculate percentage increase in lengths of potato tubers, mass in potato tubers, percentage increase in some data and all that. So you should know to put the expression or formula. Percentage increase, you get the difference divided by the decrease into 100, or percentage change into 100, same that you can. So percentage changes, rates, ratios for genetics, very important. You know, always give your working even if not asked. Always make sure you use the correct units. You know, that's very important. Correct units are very important. You should see length in millimeter, micrometer. O levels mein there is no concept of micrometer, but IGCSE mein, you know, magnification, you can convert millimeter into micrometer, multiplying with 1000, or if back divided by 1000. So even if you see, you know, potato tubers case, O levels also, mostly we take in millimeter. So how to convert centimeter into millimeter, or millimeter back to in centimeter. So you should know all these measurements of length, mass, very important. Length, mass, grams, whatever, milligrams, even specific, you know, heat, kilojoules, joules, whatever. Measure, you should use a suitable measuring instrument to take reading. Usually this involves using a ruler to measure the nearest So this is regarding if you need to take calculate magnification. Suppose in MCQ you get or whatever, even in your paper theory, which mostly comes in your ATP paper. Make sure you write down the unit after the numerical answer. Determine means not the same as measure. Either you should explain how an experiment should set up to take measurements, or how you should make a calculation for some results or data given in a table or graph. Estimate. You don't have to give an accurate answer, but your answer, which is usually numerical, should only be approximate. Sketch. This is usually used about graphs. You should put a line straight or curved on a pair of axes, maybe graph that has a line on it already, or it may be paired axes, printed or exam paper. You know that you can get the graph osmosis grid graph. You can get the grid graphs in your even theory papers. They're very important. Okay. I hope you know, suppose how to calculate the surface area of a leaf. You know, grid is given, osmosis graph is given, limiting factor graph is given. Now, style of questions, please. This is very important. Style of question. Identify features of cells, tissues, organs, or other structures. You may be expected to name some structures that are identified by letters on a diagram or drawing. I must tell that I will cater the chat. I will cater chat questions. I have already taken 2 of them, which I saw, and I will come at the end. So don't worry. This is example number 4. Question is, use label lines to identify the following on the drawing of a flower. You know, typical flower is basically flower may you have sepals, we have petals, there is a pedicel or flower stalk, which is called pedicel. Then there is a roll of sepals, collectively called corolla. Then there is a roll of petals, which is collectively called sepals are called calyx, petals collectively called corolla. Then inner third row is of male reproductive organ stamen. Innermost row is of female reproductive organs called carpel or pistil. So yahan pe he's saying petal, sepal, and stamen. To answer this question, you have to know the structure of a flower. So bring it to your mind, the whole typical flower, bring it to your mind. There is a insect pollinated flower, there is a wind pollinated flower. So you need to bring information into your mind. You have to answer the structure of a flower. You also have to be able to find the structures on a diagram of a flower that you may never have studied. Sometimes they can give you any flower you have never studied. You then have to draw a label line to the structure and write the name next to the labeling line. If you don't draw a label line, you may not get any marks. You just write near to the structure, but you don't label the line. You will not get marks for the correct answer. Use information given in the question. Question may ask you to use examples from, or use only the information in, or they can say with reference to figure 6.2. If you read instruction like these, find out what you are expected to use as examples or take information from. You will not get any marks if you use examples from somewhere else. Information can be given to you in different ways. Number 1, a diagram such as food web. I hope you remember what is food web. A lot of interlinked food chains are called food web. A set of apparatus or biological structure. A graph, which could be a line graph, as I said, line graph. It can be a bar chart. Line graph, usually we draw when there is a continuous relationship or smooth relationship between independent variable, which is taken on x-axis, and dependent variable taken on y-axis. Bar chart we usually take when there is indiscrete, indiscrete, or there is no intermediate form. Means discontinuous kind of variables like ability to roll tongue, not to roll tongue, ABO blood group, different type of fruits containing vitamin C. So you need to draw bar chart with gaps with the bars. Histogram is a continuous, continuous frequency. For example, seeds, lengths of seeds, heights, whatever. So you take how many leaves having this, their range in the particular 9 centimeter height, how many range in next height, and so on. Histogram is a continuous, there is no gap in between the bars. Always check the headings and the units carefully. A table reading table carefully with the headings of columns and rows. So very important. Now come to example 5. You may have to give example to show, while discussing all this, it can take you to your any paper. And remember this thing before, telling in the middle as well, that please must go through, just helping you out, must go through specimen paper specimen paper 2020, specimen paper of both O levels and IGCSE extended and core, specimen paper of 2022, specimen paper of 2023. Just go through the papers with mark schemes. Another very important important thing is 2021, go back. Go February, March 2021. There is only one variant in IGCSE, which is 42. So go back to that February, March option, then summers option of all the variants. You can see 41, 42, 43. Same is the case with summers and winters for O levels, 5090, all the variants, summer and winter. 21 must go through before you tomorrow go for your paper. If you have not solved them, go through the papers 2021 and 2020 plus whatever the specimen papers. I am not saying that I can give you a guest paper right now in the today, because guest papers are very good, meant for Islamiyat, Pak studies, political science, world history, world affairs, because you don't need too much. You have very much you have very much choice about it, so you can make a guess with the sections. But in case of sciences, especially in biology, we don't have any choice. We have different section in O levels also, shuru ke chapters, then middle chapter, then the last chapters. We have sections in O levels. We have got even kind of sections in IGCSE also. Now I am taking the chat. Okay, just wait. What I'm getting? Okay. MS. Okay. MS Siraj. Assalamu alaikum. Assalam. Okay. Okay. Miss, in app there has been 10. Okay. There has been 10 marks question. Can I? Yes, I'm just going to tell you how to do this 10 marks question, but I have to give you the sample for this. Is it okay? Is it okay? I have to open the paper with the sample of the 10 marks question. Is it okay? Let me open the paper. Let me finish this example 5 and 6. I'm coming to the papers with the 10 marks question. If you have 10 marks question, now I'm just giving you some tip. Let me tell you something. 10 marks question must be in O level paper. O level paper means even total 10 marks question in IGCSE will not be of one question of total 10 marks. Maximum 6 marks question you will get. For example, it will be divided by the examiner for 2 each. So maximum 10 marks question, even in O levels, section B and C, they don't give one full 10 marks question, but they can divide into 2 parts, right? 5 or 4 or 6 marks and all that. So total 10 marks question is not there. Let me finish this. Let me open the paper and I tell you the 10 marks question. How the 10 marks question is actually broken down into different parts. Okay. Example 5, you can see here. Okay. Example 6. Example 6 is of question includes diagram or cross section of a leaf. You have a describe and explain advantages distribution of chloroplast in leaves. Okay. So I am just now let me open up with, before I come to the calculation stuff and all that, let me share with the question. I'm coming to the past paper. Just hold on. Let me share our past paper with you. Okay, I'm taking example. I'm going to share it. Just wait. I'm just going to share it. This is a paper that I've taken out 2021. 2021.
Thank you so much, ma'am,
Okay.
for the session.
Thank you
Are you
so
still? Yeah, it was a pleasure. And I think it was very, very useful for the students to know how to attempt these questions and what kind of things they should write and what not to write. I think you went
Okay.
into a great deal of that. So thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you. You're welcome.
Thank you
You're
so much for
welcome.
taking
Okay.
out the time.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. No problem. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Take care.
Allah Hafiz.